Well, you have to start somewhere. Might as well start at the beginning. Let's talk about it. YouTube, vertical stacker, just going back to the humble beginnings. I was digging through my permastack the other day, and I came across a bunch of these coins, which I recognize them as coins that I purchased a long time ago with some lawn mowing money. And I believe it was about when I was 10 or 11 years old, and I had started mowing lawns around my neighborhood. And I would take that money, and aside from buying baseball cards at the time, I'd go over to Save More Drug and buy packs of Topps baseball cards, which I still wish I had all those packs, by the way. But I was also enamored by coins, particularly silver coins, older coins, pre-65 stuff. And so I just wanted to briefly go through these and show you the very humble beginnings of my stack. Now, arguably, you could say that this was really coin collecting more than stacking, and I would certainly agree with you. I think I was certainly a collector more than a stacker back in the early 80s. However, that's not to say that collecting these coins didn't prime my mind in such a way that I would later very easily transition over to stacking. So I'll just start here. It's a 19 something. My eyesight's terrible through this camera lens, but it's a Roosevelt Dime. I assume it's silver, pre-64 stuff. There's no reason I would probably have that in a flip if it wasn't. I have several of these wheat cents, and then one of my favorites, I remember when I was a kid, one of my favorites to collect was the Indian head penny. Here's a nice little sample from 1907. These were my favorite, of course, because I'd never really seen anything other than the Lincoln cents, right? And so as a kid, it was fascinating to me because this is what I was used to, is seeing the Lincoln cents. But then as soon as I found my first Indian head penny at the local coin shop, I just thought, wow, that is amazing. And the shop where I remember I bought these no longer exists. It was in downtown Boise, and there was some sort of drama involved with the owner of that shop, and I don't remember specifically what it was, but glad I wasn't involved. I was only 11 or 12 years old. So quite a few of these just regular old wheat cents, not a lot of value there other than the memories. And so in that sense, even though this might only be worth a few pennies, maybe people are selling these for $1 or something, I don't know, but they may only be worth a few pennies to you or me or objectively, but subjectively they're worth a lot more because these are all things that I'm going to end up passing down to my kids as well. We have, of course, some of the war steel cents. That one's in really great shape too. That one's in really great shape. 1943. Let's look at some of this other stuff. The Roosevelt Dime. As it says proof here, I don't know whether it's proof or not. You can see it has some tarnish there in that about 7 o'clock corner. But it looks like we paid about $1.10 for this back in the day, whenever that was. Again, it was in the early 80s. Let's see here. Another just typical wheat cent. Another steel penny. So far we've got a objective value of about $2.79. But you got to start somewhere, right? And then I start getting into some nicer coins. Here's a 1943 Mercury Dime, very fine. Supposedly, again, this is just some coin dealer who wrote VF on there. Whether they understood the grading systems or not, who knows? I didn't care. I was an 11-year-old kid. 1943. Look at this, Standing Liberty. Oh, look, there's a date on one of these right here, 2 of 82. So February of 82 is probably when I picked this up, and the price on it was $4.20. Look at that. I think these are a little over double that today. A standing Liberty $half is what I called it back then. I think we're familiar now as a walking Liberty or a walker. We've got some real nice 64 Kennedys, $5.50. I paid for that. Boy, if that was in 82, it seems like that was an awful lot of money. That was half of a lawn. Another 64. Check this out. An 1898 Barber Quarter, $2.80 is the price I see written on the corner of that one. Interesting. The date is very, very vivid on this thing, but boy, it sure is worn. When you look at the details of the barber, that is certainly worn. Probably because of the contrast between the dirt and the relief. But 1898 Barber, kind of cool there. Oh, look at this, an old Eisenhower Dollar, 1974. D, probably mint mark. I can't really see it that well. I've got a ton of these in a different location. I started collecting these again back in the early 80s. And every time I would go and deposit my lawn mowing money, or I would, get some money for raking leaves, or whatever it was that I would do as a kid to earn money, I would ask the bank, hey, do you have any Ikes? Do you have any Eisenhower Dollars? And I would buy those. And so I have rolls and rolls and rolls of these Eisenhower Dollars. Kind of funny that I would do that as a kid, but they just were different. They were hefty. And to me, just the heft of that big chunk of metal was worth more than $1 to me. Yeah, here's old V nickel. 1910. 1910 V nickel. And then the old SLQ, a standing Liberty quarter, supposedly in good condition from 1930. No idea what that says. Something 2. Maybe that's a version of it. I'm not up on my numismatic terminologies or different versions or variations of certain coins. Another Kennedy half. This was my one and only Franklin half that I had for a long time. Of course, I still have it because here it is. But that was always a pretty cool part of my collection, and I always would show my friends. I remember, gosh, you look at these things from 30 years ago, and they bring back so many memories, even my handwriting. My handwriting just looks ridiculous on some of these things. A junk buffalo nickel that I bought for 20 cents. No date. No date, all the legs. A 1919p buffalo nickel. Can't believe I paid $2.50 for that, but it is what it is. And then a 1915 S Barber Dime. Again, look at the contrast. The date and the United States of America. Everything really stands out on there, but I think more than anything it's because of the contrast with the grime on it versus the relief. 80 cents or $1, I'm not sure what that means. I don't know if that's what I bought it at, or because I don't think that is a vendor's writing. It looks like it might have been my writing, hard to say. Pretty cool. And then we have another 1943, or is this the same one I looked at earlier? No, it's the same one I looked at earlier. So, yeah, I pretty much went through most of these, it looks like, but this is the very early version of Vertical Stacker's stack right there. These little paper holders that have the plastic in between, and I would just staple the crap out of them. So I probably bought these coins in their raw form out of a Tupperware bin or something like that at my local coin shop, and I would take them home and I would put them here, and I would take the stapler and just staple them really good because I didn't want air to get in there and ruin them. If only I knew then what I know now, right? But anyway, this is, like I say, a little bit of a history on what got me into stacking. Again, this is mostly collector stuff, numismatic stuff. Obviously not a lot of value here, but look at the value that it inspired within me. From an 11-year-old, 12-year-old boy collecting steel war cents and Kennedy halves and Indian head pennies and buffalo nickels, standing Liberty quarters, it inspired me to do so much more. It inspired me to stack. And so now I consider myself to be a stacker and not just a numismatic type collector. As much of a hack as I was at 11, but who of us, really knows what the heck we're doing when we're 11 years old. My kids obviously will inherit these. I would never sell these, ever. I don't care what anybody offered me. There's just certain things in my stack that are not for sale because of the sentimental value, and these have tremendous sentimental value to me and to my family. So these are being passed down to the kids, and I hope that they will appreciate them for what they are. Again, not a lot of value there, but there will be a little storybook that goes along with them that I'll pass down, just so that they know of the meaning that these had for me and how these silly silver coins and copper coins helped shape who I am today. Well, hope everyone is doing well. Tell me about your early stacking or your early collecting. Put it in the comments below. How did you do it? How did you get started? I'd love to hear it. Vertical Stacker. Until next time.